And now for the love dialogue. People complain it is awkward and unrealistic. Awkwardness is often realistic when people are in love because they are nervous. In the case of Anakin and Padme, they haven't ever really experienced true love before, so it is totally normal. And people call it corny. Yeah, when more people people share raw emotions, that is again really normal. And indeed isn't witty, it doesn't sound really smart and funny. Well, not all people, in fact. Most people are not witty, especially when emotional. Some people are sarcastic and self-confident, but this isn't the only form of dialogue that is real. What matters is dialogue fits the characters and really conveys their emotions in a deep way. For example, Padme saying, "Annie, my goodness, why have you grown?" And Anakin responding, "So have you. Grown more beautiful, I mean." Fitted the characters. Padme is happy to see Anakin again, but at first also still sees the innocence in him he had as a kid. And Anakin, who has demonstrated to even be sweating, wants to return the compliment, saying she grew also, although she was already almost fully grown in episode 1 because he doesn't think through his compliment, and then he quickly tries to turn it into saying she became more beautiful and gets very personal, so then says for a senator his Jedi have prejudices against them, downplaying the compliment sounding unintentionally insulting, and she just laughs as she sees the innocence in him he had as a kid and finds it nice he is obviously trying to be warm to her. Anakin sounded really stupid, yes, that was the point, but he was trying to be really nice, and you could see Padme appreciated that, as she is understanding and appreciates niceness and honesty a lot, and she at first doesn't take this advance that seriously yet. His awkwardness is like having a character stutter. It is on purpose to add realism. It actually is really believable someone would not immediately know just what compliment to give after they say the person they thought about for 10 years. Oh, and it is also normal Padme loves him, because if you love someone, you look at the intent behind their actions and words, and you accept flaws, especially awkwardness, and you don't judge someone for insecurity. Suggesting that not being witty means you don't deserve to fall in love is flat out mean-spirited. Reviewer 1 in fact says that when he was in love with a girl in 6th grade, he spoke French to her, saying madam and wife, while he could barely speak French, and she laughed and found it cute. Yeah, girls like honesty and sentimentality and innocence. That is also why they make for the less judgmental parent, especially someone as understanding as Padme appreciates this from Anakin. To reference some other films, in Forrest Gump, the dialogue was awkward, and so is the dialogue in Spider-Man 1 and 2. X-Men, X2, but also to reference films where this was criticized, which David Coop's Spider-Man 1 writing has been, people complain about the dialogue in that. And Filmring complained about the sentimentality when an adult was comforting a little kid in The Happening, and in Spider-Man 3, Matthew complained an old woman went in a lot of detail. Really? Adults don't act sentimental towards children when comforting them, and we'll know old folks are to the point, right? People are always completely not redundant. Know what they are going to say, like it was purposely written on for weeks by Hollywood writers, and are always inwards unsentimental and cool, right? Yeah, not every person talks like Iron Man or a Tarantino character, and that wit was great, but not everyone talks like that. Awkwardness is normal, and the fact so many writers write like that in and of themselves shows it aren't just a few people that are detached from the world. I mean, the E.T. dialogue, Taxi Driver, Gladiator, it's all dramatic and sentimental, and of all those films it's even praised. The dialogue isn't boring, as it reflects the characters, really conveys them, and adds to the film's themes. Another example I wish I could just wish away my feelings. Yeah, remember Spider-Man? Let's get some lunch some evening. And that also had the angel line people complain about in episode 1. What involved a fucking ass-cut shit. Wow, reviewer 1 is angry. Children. The nostalgia critic commented on how not cool it was. Yeah, because normal people aren't always cool. Even some Loris Kasdan films have sentimental dialogue like Grand Canyon and The Big Chill. And Jackie Brown was the Tarantino film with some awkward dialogue, and he considers that a more mature effort, and it was. I mean, some scenes in Empire were awkward, and with Han making the comments about Leia wanting to stay because of the way she felt about him, and that added realism. When Anakin said he didn't like sand, he was conveying how he shared her love for beauty and for water and nature, and this symbolized how he liked her world more than his desert sand world Tatooine, reminiscent of how Padme said his world was too warm for her. And yes, Padme is commenting about a love for the water. Yeah, that is talking about something more beautiful and personal, like women do more often. And complaining about something minor is normal when you are in love. Remember the Lord of the Rings films? And their talk about the warmth in the sun? Finding Nemo and the sea turtles, and Rocky calling birds flying candy? It is sentimental and personal. That is real. And remember Empire? Stop it. My hands are dirty. My hands are dirty. To what are you afraid of? Remember that? It would be a cliche. Okay, cover that already. But, Anakin's joking about his attitudes towards senators, a love for softness and the sharing of political beliefs, with one saying he might prefer a dictatorship and comforting someone on their struggles with their mentors, as well as the talk of growing more beautiful, and Padme being able to be so open with him and feeling comfortable under that, and accidentally turning a compliment into an insult, and Anakin honestly admitting he has the same fears, yet being somewhat comforting, and Anakin trying to constantly say she is in the right, not doubting her, yet giving justified reasons like supporting why she became a senator, were all fresh and original. It were mainly the love confession and fireplace parts that used more old dialogue. Yeah, Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2, aka the university-loved film, even quoted love books. We often adopt well-known ways to share our feelings, and Blinket praised Titanic and Matthew Moulin Rouge, so both shut it. The exposition on the clones, which is about 2 minutes and set up many vital plot points, would be too long. 2 minutes of exposition is too long, even when it sets up many vital plot points. Yet you want films to clearly convey things and not be visual and vague and wished for even more exposition on the Sith. And it isn't like many other films. And you know the drill. This ain't different from The Dark Knight or Lord of the Rings films. And also this sort of exposition you have in any Kurosawa films, or Blade Runner, or Fargo, The Big Lebowski, True Grit, Jurassic Park, Sixth Sense, just any film with a complex story. Oh, and by the way, Anakin was mostly just arrogant and angry at people that insult him though he was trying to be nice to who he isn't, an asshole. Obi-Wan was right calling him just arrogant. He just got angry when Obi-Wan was distorting the facts, or who saved who, and refused to treat the woman he loved fairly, and was frustrated by of working hard and doing many good things being kept down. Again, remember Luke? And you complain all the time and are a lot more mean-spirited. But that would be okay since the films you spent 2 hours on are horrible, right? I said this on Matthew's channel, and he said there's a difference between a film critic and a movie character. That if Anakin isn't sympathetic, we can't care for him. Okay, so he admits he is also an asshole, yet he can be a film critic who can judge the morality of others. If a critic isn't sympathetic, he cannot be a good judge on people too. And also, so Matthew should just say yes and amend to everything. So John Blake is an asshole because he argued with his superiors? I guess so. And we will delve deeper into this, when Matthew reviews episode 3, Anakin is an asshole for being upset by having to spy and commit treason towards his mentor and the leader of the Republic. So being loyal to your friends and being upset being asked to commit treason is bad. What? So he should just take any orders. Well, he did killing Dooku, who he didn't know was evil, and had cut off his arm and murdered many of his peers, and who had strong force powers, making him a dangerous prisoner while they were on the enemy ship, with Anakin needing to carry an unconscious Obi-Wan, being the only able warrior yet, after being ordered to kill an unarmed warrior, and therefore kill an enemy without trying to, protect those that are actually goons. That was such an absolute. Anakin should have continued to say no and should have not sounded understated because he was shocked after doing so, okay? Sorry for talking about episode 3, but remember how Batman killed a defeated Ra's al Ghul? Oh wait, let him die, even though he only let him die because he wanted him to die, and he could have easily saved him and was responsible for the train he was on and crashing. Remember that? Also, he complains what Anakin being the chosen one had to do with him not being ready for the assignment. Means he could trust him as he is so important. Also, the dialogue wasn't unconvincing. It discussed the things that were important between Anakin and Padme, and then growing comfortable around each other. Also, Anakin indeed discussed he was frustrated by his mentor who was mean to him. Yeah, teenagers never discuss that with each other, and again, he's aboard an enlightened dictatorship. Oh, and on another note, he didn't beg Padme for sex, but to be with him. And yeah, teenagers never come off as desperate when love struck, right? Right? Also, the landing scene on Tatooine was a long montage. What, like 10 seconds or something? Yeah, 10-second flying sequences are so rare in sci-fi movies. Again, Lord of the Rings, Batman, oh, fuck it. And fuck you. And fuck Reviewer 1 for making me do this. I should have just used the internet for porn. Oh, and how were the Camino aliens fake? They had saturated skin colors, moist eyes, moist fluently through a bit restrained due to their lack of muscles and rough skins, and Jester moved clumsily due to his fatness and had a rough skin. And Obi-Wan actually looks right at where he is. How the are these bad special effects? Oh, and back to the love dialogue. Anakin saying they sometimes had to let go of their pride showed he was trying to be more mature, which made Padme really see him as more mature. And her asking him not to grow up fast showed she was still a bit hesitant about being with him. Don't see how that is unnatural. And Anakin saying he was growing up showed he was more consistent. And Anakin somewhat annoyingly saying he was when they entered the droid factory, he had given up trying to argue with her, showed he was still arrogant and quickly offended, but was trying to be a good friend. Oh, she didn't just say, I can't love you. She explained she couldn't live with a lie and asked Anakin if he could try and be rational. And she was trying to be. And she was trying not to be honest, about her feelings, dodging his questions about the way she felt about him. And Anakin also discussed he was haunted by the kiss she gave him, because it made him realize how much he loved her, and said she wasn't in his soul tormenting him, as he was the more honest person about his pain, and described her as being in his heart, and his heart being beaten because he is more sentimental, and he was actively trying to make her admit her feelings, so they didn't just flat out say they loved each other, but couldn't and were in agony and had different ways of conveying their emotions. Anakin also explaining he loved her by describing how he loved her world. And Anakin is more complimentary when she is more curious and worried. And we aren't just supposed to care about their love because it's forbidden. They deeply develop why they love each other. An obstacle just creates more tension and shows how much they care about each other. And all this stuff we would again see 2 years later in Spider-Man 2. This sort of thing was in Titanic. No, I'm not even gonna say fuck it. Just, yeah, you know. Next! So, oh, and Lord of the Rings. Never mind, anywho. Let's see. So the conversation about Anakin being grown up fit the characters and expanded their friendship. So that wasn't bad dialogue. Neither were the sand talk or the fireplace scene, and the part he comforts her about standing on their own, admitting he felt scared too, yet they had art too, was natural. People often feel better when they share worried and a joke about it, and it showed Anakin understood Padme. And the part he says they were encouraged to love was great, as it reflected how he once retained his altruistic beliefs, yet had become more spiritual and philosophical. And by saying Padme was the way she was in his dreams, he was really honest about his feelings and caused her to really consider her feelings for him. Oh, Matthew complains Padme sees the same age as she was almost fully young adult, looking 14 years old in the first film. She looked like a younger teenager, and as a young adult here, yeah, there's no real difference between the two. She wouldn't grow taller or get wrinkles or get bigger breasts. Just compare pictures of 17-year-olds with 27-year-olds. No real difference. Oh, Padme can't love Anakin as it would be a scandal because she would be helping him break his code. In real life, when a president or governor fucks in on that might just be a scandal. Okay, and the arena fight would be too long. What there needs to be less dialogue and plot and action and visuals, and the battle wasn't long. Then the trench fight of the Walker battle. Oh, no, not gonna do that again. Helm's Deep. God. Oh, Reviewer 1 just condemned me for blasphemy. Stuck-up little Catholic. Okay, and the droid factory scene would be a video game we didn't get to play. Well, because it was similar to video game action scenes, sorry, but the video game argument is weak, as one films use elements from many other art for the video games aren't necessarily bad when adapted into other media. The films based on games are, but some elements of them translate well to films, like with musicals, nukes, etc.